Hey friends. So yesterday I had just a beautiful morning, and basically what happened was I got up. I was doing my morning routine as I do essentially every day. I always have Annalise's monitor, even though she's 5 years old. I still have a monitor because every probably 3 months or so she calls out for us. But otherwise, it's also just sort of my way of knowing what how she's, like if I'm waking her up in the morning, sometimes she'll make a sound, and I'll know, like, within like a few minutes of when I'm supposed to go in, and I'll know, oh, okay, she's waking up. It's the end of a sleep cycle. I should go now instead of waiting 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Or on the weekends, more often than not, I'll be meditating, and I've got the monitor, and I'll just hear her start to breathe different, and then she'll start talking or playing or something, and I just get to take that in, either while I'm meditating or doing yoga or whatever I'm doing. So that's what happened yesterday. And then unexpectedly, I walked into her room and said hi, and she said, "Can we go for a walk?" And I said, "Sure." I said, "Let's go for a walk." So we got our warm clothes on, we went outside, walked over to the park. She's in a phase right now where she seems to be a thing in her whole class where she plays an alicorn. You ever heard of an alicorn? An alicorn is a unicorn with wings. This was a relatively new word in my vocabulary. But she has this sweater, and she'll like pull the sleeves in like this, and then make them nice and floppy, and then flap and be an alicorn. So we spent a fair amount of time and energy running around the park as alicorns, or as an alicorn and the alicorns handler. And as we were doing that, as I was outdoors in the cold, just being in the early morning air with my daughter, I had this thought cross my mind. Because, if you've been following my posts, then you'll know kind of what I'm working with, wrestling with right now, dealing with. Got these physical injuries, one of which is, gonna have to see some doctors about what it means. The other one is my left shoulder, and it's getting sort of better, but also sort of worse, and I'm concerned I might have done something to the rotator. I don't know. It's not my favorite thing to feel. So anyway, it's informing me. It's informing my life in that while it challenges me to be present, completely present with what is. I've actually had this intuition for a while that I was using the physical body as a way of deflecting the present moment. As in, I would focus on physical, on the comfort and health, and to some degree strength and integrity of my physical body. But it was a way of deflecting from the truth of the moment. And I don't quite know how to explain that. I just know that it was like I felt myself from time to time, not always obviously, but there was a kind of meta level on which keeping my body healthy was like a way of hedging against death. And, you know, anybody who knows anything about human lifespans knows that that's not a great bet. Like, we should all be healthy. We really should. And many of us should be healthier. No problem with improving our health, being very conscious of our health, etc. But it's not going to get us out of the reckoning. And I think I was trying to have it get me out of the reckoning in some ways. I think it was a way of hedging. And that has been taken away from me. I don't have that anymore. And it's a beast. It's a bear of a thing to accept. But man, what if I could learn that lesson? What if I could truly accept the lesson? Because isn't that a pretty big one? Our impermanence, living, you know, I've said many times, I heard it long before I got these injuries. I heard Sadhguru talking about always create your vision of life, your vision of your life within the context of your mortality. In other words, recognize that this physical life, this temporal existence is circumscribed. You got a certain number of years and then it will be over. And none of us really, unless we're quite adept spiritually, none of us really want to accept that. And I think in my own case, I'll just speak for myself. In my own case, I think I was kind of trying to hedge. I thought maybe I'd make it. Maybe I'd be able to just kind of squeak through, not forever, just a little longer. But what we're really hedging against when we do that is the present moment. We're hedging against the present moment. We're saying, I'm buying myself more time in the future which means I can get away with, to put it bluntly, wasting a little more time now. So having that taken away from me, or having at least one avenue of that, one pretty entrenched avenue of my particular way of doing that taken away. That's a powerful lesson. And as I was walking yesterday in the cold with Annalise, being very present, all of a sudden, like the trees, like I was like looking at this pine tree and the little shoots of pine needles like explode and looked like little pine needle explosions, like little meteors had come down and hit the branch of the pine tree, and each time it hit, there's like a pine tree needle explosion that happened all along all the top sides of all the branches of the tree. And it's like life, watching life manifest. Every once in a while I have that with trees. I'll look at a tree and I'm like, you're the most intelligent thing I've ever seen. There's something about a tree, the structure of a tree, that's just incredible. It's an incredible manifestation of intelligence. In the same way that a human body is a manifestation of intelligence, but there's something about, we see so many human bodies and we're wearing clothes all the time, can't even see them. But a tree's naked pretty much every day. I've never seen a tree wearing a sweater. I'm sure somebody somewhere's got a tree that they put a sweater on, but I'm just saying, the kind of structural elegance of a tree, looking at the way that it has been formed, it has formed to reach towards the light and the soil simultaneously, the light and the dark, growing up into the light and growing down into the dark. So that's what hit me as I was running around in the freezing cold yesterday with my daughter, being an alicorn. I keep posting about my injuries or the kind of next wave of insight or whatever's coming up for me, because I'm still processing it. I don't think I'm done yet. Every once in a while I still feel fear. But I had a thought yesterday, there's a part of me that can get hooked by the fear, that can get hooked by the pain or the what's going to happen, something will happen and I'll think, oh my God, my hand, what's happening? Can I ever, what's my life going to be like? And a thought hit me yesterday as I was out there just gazing at trees and flapping my wings like an alicorn. I had this, like, it was like a question that came. It was like, do you want to live a tragic life? Or an exuberant life? All of us die. It's not tragic that we die. That would be insane. That would mean every life is tragic. A tragic life means we didn't live. It means we didn't live fully. We let fear have us. And, you know, again, because I'm wrestling with these patterns, I've got this fear coming up or whatever, I've been kind of just, I think that's where that came from yesterday, where I was like, do I want to live a tragic, and of course immediately my mom was like, no, I don't want to live a tragic life. I don't want to let fear convince me that somehow dying is horrible. That's crazy. And then at some point today, I went back into fear. I was like, oh, my hand. I was using a drill gun. I was trying to use a drill gun. I felt the drill gun kind of torque my wrist. I was like, that's not what it used to feel like when I used a drill gun. So, you know, there's daily lessons. But letting myself see it, almost always puts me in a place where it's like, okay, I see you. Thank you. Now move along. I got a life going on here. And it's got alicorns in it and pine trees. So step off, fear. Anyway, that's where I am today, people. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon.